love it with some passion. Rubber band and the money that keeps stacking. Got a honey who come with elite fashion. She too fine, I tell her that thing magic. You ain't a hustler, you broke, well that seems tragic. Gotta catch in the field like deep passes. I tell her plug if it's sticky, then please bag it. I need the best cause I grew up beneath madness. Need a matte burgundy mercy. Jewelry so heavy it might hurt me. Smoking extra kill, that extra seal. Whoa, Buffalo money need extra bills till I'm eating so much I gotta break.
Hey yo, what's goody up in here? It is Tuesday night, and you already know what time it is. It's time for the chop up, and I got my dog here, All Bro Poe, and it's your boy Sterls right here on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast feed. This is a chop up, and it's Tuesday. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Just living the Colorado dream. You know, it's cold out here. You know, it's been single digits, man, for the past few days. You know, been cold.
I don't mind the cold. I used to live in North Dakota. That's where I played college football, and like probably 8 of our games were 0 to 7 degree weather. And then some of them in the playoffs were like negative 14-degree weather. So I don't mind the cold. I really don't like the sideways wind snowstorms.
See you're a whole man for that, because I mean, playing football in is one thing, because you know you're exerting energy, and you know it's like they cold, you cold, you might as well just hit each other, right? But
what? No. That shit's cold. No matter if you're in the stands or
dog.
No. I sweat sitting here, right? I sweat sitting here.
You forget about that when you're in games like that. Don't you kind of forget about it being cold?
No, you have to try to strengthen your mind, but you know it's cold. You know that every wind, it hurts. Like it hurts your body. And me and Jordan's skin are not built for the cold, like weather, which is crazy. But like, we had a heater on the sideline. I'm just like Jordan. I'm gonna go stand right in front of that shit when I'm not in, and when I'm in, I'm gonna go out there.
Hey, well, you trying to say, you know, black folks ain't built for the cold? We ain't built for that. We ain't built for that.
I'm cultured.
I mean, it ain't got nothing to do with your culture. I'm just saying, like, you know, God said, you know, I'm gonna leave y'all into the bake a little bit. Y'all, you know, you guys are, you know, hot weather creatures.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. No, man, dude, it was like Mama P, baby. Never fails.
Yeah.
Sorry, my fault.
Yeah.
No, man. So out here, it was like negative 5 last night. Man, it's just been cold, man. You know, there's been cold snaps all over the country lately. And I ain't for it. I'm not here for that.
I'm good. If it just stays cold and doesn't blizzard, I'll be all right, I guess.
So tonight's show, man. I mean, we could talk about. I really don't feel like there's much to talk about the Steelers game, because, like, I mean, we'll give some thoughts on that, but we got to talk about what's coming up this weekend, man. Like, the Chiefs. Hey, man, that's the game. That's the game. So I know you were in a comfy box suite yesterday. You didn't have to brave the elements at all, really. I'm almost certain the concierge picked you up from your apartment and took you to the stadium. You know,
I walked a mile and a half from my apartment to the stadium, because I've been doing that all year, and I'm not going to stop because it's cold out.
You just a beast, huh?
I have to do it every game.
You're a whole Buffalonian now, dog.
No.
You know that? You braved the elements.
No.
Walked a mile and a half to the stadium to go to the game. So, but you were in that suite though.
I was.
How was it, man? How was it, man? What's the vantage point like up there?
We were on the end zone of the entrance, and so it was good. We had the window open the whole time, and like the heaters weren't doing that much, so we don't have to sit on the snow. But it was cold in the suite.
Nice. Okay. Hey, you see all them snowballs getting thrown?
Absolutely. Every
That
sport.
had to be a sight, man. Bills Mafia showed up, showed out, man.
It was
That was
like
pretty dope.
fireworks. It was dope.
All
It was
right,
like
so
snowball fireworks.
thoughts on the game, man. Like your perspective. I was on here last night on intentional grounding, giving my thoughts on the game, and I kind of went through it, but I want to talk about Kansas City because I'm just juiced for that game. But what were your thoughts, man? Like,
I thought
did you see what you expected? Did what you know?
I thought it was good. I thought for the most part, like it was a consistent game of football. And so like the defense went out there, they played well early, had a couple injuries. It's interesting. The whole second row of the defense was injured. So
Yeah.
two backup corners, three backup linebackers, and a backup nickel. And so I asked Jordan, I was like, is that difficult to play with? Is that a difficult like? And he said, nah, like it's difficult for us, me and Micah, because we have to tell the linebackers, just play. There's no time to think, especially in the playoffs. You can't think. So they told the linebackers, just play fast to the ball, and we'll make you right on the back end. And so like
Dang.
the and it helps that they have really good defensive linemen playing right now. So like
Right.
the linebackers don't have to be perfect. They don't, you know what I mean, to make the plays. Now in coverage, it was not great. It wasn't great coverage from the linebackers once Terrell went down, but it is what it is. And then offensively, they did exactly what I wanted them to do. It was a consistent, no mistakes, drive the ball down the field. Different guys are getting it off, and that's what I expect. I expect every game to be a different guy, a different name being called. This week it was Kincaid and Khalil, and then you're always gonna have Diggs, and then next week it could be Deontay Hardy and and Cook going crazy. Like you just never know with this offense. So I love the way Joe played it. I think it was a perfect game plan. And if we turn the ball over, if our defense turns the ball over with the guys that we have coming back, I don't see us losing this Chiefs game.
Yeah, I agree. I like what I saw from the offense from a play calling standpoint. You just saw built-in options for Josh. Wasn't a lot of down the field. I felt like it was a good balanced blend. You had guys going down the field, but he had opportunities to get the ball to guys quickly. And whether it's Joe Brady or our offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey before, I feel like the offense functions and operates much better when those options are kind of built in the offense early to get Josh in rhythm. I think once he gets in rhythm, he fares much better throughout the game. Getting the ball to different receivers and letting them make plays. And the added element this year is that you got guys that can run after catch, and namely Khalil Shakir and Deontay Hardy when he gets the ball, and Dalton Kincaid really make it easy for a quarterback. Like, hey, I could trust you. It's 3rd and 8. I'm gonna throw. You're gonna catch this ball 4 yards, but you're gonna get 10. That's a good thing heading to this Kansas City game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was the idea from the get-go, kind of a RPO style offense where it's one read for Josh. It's a handoff and go most of the time, or you can or you could take off running if you're Josh. Like that. I mean, you can't really throw a cover 0 at him anymore unless you have a spy, and if you do, that's taking up so many coverage guys. So it's really hard to play Josh on defense, and the way that Joe Brady's been calling games, it's just I don't know. And this team tends to get better as you play them a second time. Like you play a team a second time or a third time, like they tend to understand, at least on the defensive end of the ball. So I do like our matchup against KC here and what our defense is going to bring. I think if I'm not mistaken, I feel like we should get Razul and Dotson back.
Oh, that'd be huge, man. That's
And
gonna be
then
huge.
Taryn, Spector, and Benford, I think all were head injuries, and I've never seen a guy get kept out the next week in a playoff game from a head injury. So we'll see.
Yeah, Taryn. I mean, I think maybe this is his first or second concussion this year. He had one earlier in the season. He was playing the next game. That's kind of one of those things that he's been battling off and on in his career, but he seems to just bounce back. But again, there's concussion protocol that the players have to adhere to and go through and so forth. So we'll kind of watch the injury report moving forward here. But you mentioned Rasul Douglas, and having him against Kansas City is gonna be great, man, because he's the guy that you can, when you match coverages, you could put him on Travis Kelce. He's big and physical, but the glory about all that is you got two other corners now that you could kind of mix things up, and namely, I think it's only fair that we mention Kyer Elam here because you and I talked about him a lot this year and went to bat for him this year, and to see him come through in a playoff game and get an interception, man, like for his confidence, man, that's big time. That's a big deal for him.
Yeah, so I know Kyrie Elam on a pretty in-depth level just through Jordan, and like we hang out a lot, and I do think that Kyrie that one game kind of showed exactly what he was dealing with this year. In one game, he got ran over, he had a pass interference, and then he intercepted the ball. Like it was just like I think, and when we were talking about this at the beginning of the year, it was like something mental was going on with Kyrie, and it was his inability to move on from a bad play and then make it just play the next play. And like that's what this defense is built on. It's like if you make a bad play, all right, we line up again, we go again. And that's the culture the defense has set. And that's probably why he couldn't play early on in the year, because his mind wasn't like that. He'd make a mistake, he'd dwell on it. And then he let that affect the rest of his play. So I do like what he just showed this weekend. I do like what he showed because it was an ability to move on from a bad play, another bad play, and then made a great interception that changed the game. And it's a great story for him. I don't expect, if Benford and Razor are good to go, that they play Kyer. I don't expect that. maybe in some type of dime if we're up and they have to pass, but
I mean, you're not gonna have Taylor Rapp, and you're not gonna have Taylor Rapp this week, and I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, if you ask me right now, is Taylor Rapp playing? I'm like, I don't know, but I probably say no. But if he does, that'd be great. I would love to have him, but I would just like to see Kyer out there more, man. I think, I don't know if people understand the magnitude of how important him being in the game was. And, for a guy that relies on instincts and athleticism, when you take the athleticism away because of the foot injury and just dealing with all the mental aspects, to see him bounce back and get a pick, man, dude, I was happy. Like that to me was like one of the happiest moments in the game for me, because I want the kid to be good. I want to see him shine. I want to see that dude eat. So I was just pumped for him, man. Like the dude came in, got himself a pick, and got that swag. And then, he was in the interview post game. He was talking about, like, what you're mentioning, like, yeah, I they had him in the first half, paraphrasing here, but like, hey, man, you next play, team's counting on me. I got to do what I'm supposed to do, and he sure did, man. So that was pretty dope.
Yeah, and just going along with this game plan, and don't get me wrong, I think Kyer has the ability to be a really good corner in this league. I just see Taryn following Kelce around. That's how they've been kind of playing it. They would kind of bracket it with Taryn and whoever else, like a guy over the top of safety. And then you allow your corners outside to kind of eat on some of these other receivers that they got. And so there's a lot of things you can do with this. There's no drop off. I mean, obviously you want your stars out there, your guys out there, but like there's no like super drop off with anybody. Now we're pushing it with the linebacker position, but I'm tired of
Yeah.
seeing guys get hurt. But I think Dawson should be back. And then they do play a lot of dime against Kansas City because they tend to throw a lot. So from the previous game. So if you're in dime a lot, then you have Cam Lewis in there who's been coming in that dime position. If Taryn gets to play, if Taryn doesn't play, then Cam Lewis would be the nickel, and you probably DeMar would probably come in, which would be interesting. But we'll see.
You know, I ain't gonna cap, man. One player I don't want to see on the field is DeMar Hamlin. I just can't, bro. I can't, man. So revisiting the Kansas City game, you know, the Bills won that game 20-17, and there was a lot of crying after that game because there was the play of destiny that was supposed to happen, where you know Travis Kelce throws it back to Kadarius Toney, who was on the play, was pissed off because he wasn't the option, and runs it in. And you know, it's just like it's fun to kind of go back to memory lane and remind myself what happened in that game. I mean, it was a slugfest, man. Like 20-17. You know, Spags had a great game plan. Sean McDermott had a great game plan. My question is, you know, schematically, you looking at the Dolphins defense or offense, excuse me. They really didn't present a much of a challenge for that Chiefs defense. I mean, you know, they're playing in super cold weather. Tua doesn't have the strongest arm. I mean, it was just kind of a mess. And so, you know, it leaves you thinking like, damn, that defense is just extraordinary. It's going to be a different ball game here in Buffalo on Sunday. What are your thoughts, man? Like, you know, Buffalo Bills offense versus the Chiefs defense. You know, they're going to have to mix it up. What do you think we see from the Bills offense?
Well, it's not the same. And you can say the Dolphins have a high octane offense, and they do because of Tyreek and Jalen Waddle when they're healthy. But Josh poses a threat where you literally have to take somebody out of coverage and place them in the middle of the field to spy them. So, like, you're not going to be able to just drop 7, 6. Like, those cornerbacks are going to have to play well for a long time while he's just like Mahomes, able to scramble around. Or if you try to bring a cover 0 blitz, that's not going to work because he's going to get out of there. Like, he makes cover 0's blitz. Like, he may not choose the right option in the cover 0. Like, if you send the house at him, he may not choose the right throwing option, but he's going to make your one guy that's blitzing free miss, and then now those other guys that are in the defensive backfield have to cover for 5-6 seconds when they're playing man on man, which is not ideal. So it's just a different it's a different type of defense that you have to play against. And Josh was just getting into using his legs a little bit more early on in the Chiefs game. Last game, I believe that was right after I think the Eagles game. He started bringing it out a little bit more, and I think he's gotten a lot more comfortable with timings on when he's going to run now and when he's not, and when he's going to throw. So I just don't, as good as Spags can be, I just think that we built this offense, and mainly, I mean, this defense, we brought in a guy like Vaughn to come in and affect the game, this game in particular, this specific game. So, like, if you're going into a game that you built your team to beat this team, like, you should feel good about it.
Yeah, and Josh Allen was 23 of 42, 233 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception in that game. He also ran one in as well. But you know, this is a completely different offense now than when they faced week 12 or something, week 13, week 12, 13, I believe. You know, Josh is more comfortable. You know, he's getting the ball out quick when he needs to. And you know, that game we did see James Cook really have a good game on the ground, in the air. You know, I really do think, you know, I think this is Gabe's time. And you know, like, I ain't smoking nothing, or I'm not drunk right now, bro. But for me to say, like, this is a Gabe Davis game, I feel like if he plays, he's gonna get some catches, man. Just because it's the Chiefs, you know, they're not great at cornerback too. he's gonna have some opportunities right deep, and I expect Josh Allen to get him one deep. And hey, also, this was the game where didn't Josh and Gabe have a little mishap in the end zone on a blown coverage where Josh kind of missed Gabe? Didn't we have one of those in this game as well? Or am I thinking of the Eagles game?
That was the Eagles game, and then they might have had another one this game, but I think it was the Eagles and the Dolphins game. They had people called the Dolphins one an option route, which I don't think it was, but the Eagles one was an option route, and I don't think that was. I don't think we had one in the Chiefs game.
Well, irregardless, there's been so many of those mishaps throwing the ball that you just hope the chemistry is better. I tend to believe it is, or it will be. I'm just excited to see Gabe in the offense. I ain't gonna lie. When he's not out there, it makes you go like, it makes you miss him a little bit when he's not out there, even though sometimes he doesn't fill up the stat sheet. But it's definitely a noticeable difference when he's not out there on the field.
Yeah, there's this big. He had one bad drop this year that I remember that ended up in an interception, and ever since then, the narrative was it's just like it was last year. He's dropping a lot. Well, he's only dropped 3 balls this year when he's been targeted, and so he's been fairly consistent at catching, especially in if you get like a 3rd and 12 situation, 2nd and 12 situation. He's been fairly consistent at getting to the sticks and catching the ball, like a confident option for Josh. And he's one of the best scramble drill wide receivers on the team, if not the best. So when things get hectic for Josh, Gabe finds a way to get open, and those are the times where he hits for those long balls. So I'm not sure if he's playing. I know he had a knee sprain and MCL sprain. Yeah. I'm not sure if he'll play, but I'm confident that no matter who's playing on the offensive end, somebody's going to get off this week, whether it be Khalil or Diggs, or maybe Diggs go for 200. I don't
know. Man, Kincaid and Shakir. Those are the two guys, man. Those are the two guys, dude. I'm telling you, man. Like I'm a big fan of Khalil Shakir lately, man. Dude's been balling out. And that catch yesterday, catch and run for the touchdown. I mean, dude, that's what we need right there. Like a guy that's going to catch the ball consistently, but when he has it in his hands, he's going to make somebody miss. He's going to get you some extra yards. He's slippery, man. I love that about his game.
He's just a ball player. He kind of remind me of interesting that the Rams have 2 of them, but Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are similar in a way where they're just kind of ball players. They're just they're not the fastest guy, they're not the quickest guy, but when you get them the ball, they're able to do football things with them and just do some special things with them because they're hard to take down. They have a lot of heart. They're just ball players, and so Khalil reminds me of that. I just think that if he has the ball in his hand, he's not going to dive at your foot like Diggs does. And don't get me wrong, Diggs is great, but he's gonna keep running. You're gonna have to bring him down. You're gonna have to come hit him. It's not
right.
So I do like Khalil Shakir's ability to do that. He could come out and have a 130, 40-yard game depending on how many times we get him the ball, but he's been fairly consistent.
Yeah, man. And on the defensive side of the ball, you talked about Von Miller, and I felt like in the Kansas City Chiefs game, because these tackles that they have aren't that great. They've been struggling at tackle all season long. I mean, you're talking about Donovan Smith, Wanye Morris was playing, had some time in there. And then Jawan Taylor, who's been an absolute disaster of a free agency pickup. I feel like whether it's Von Miller or any other defensive end, I mean, Greg Rousseau, they're gonna have the opportunities to really get after Mahomes. And if you want to beat the Chiefs in this situation, a lot's gonna have to be on this defensive line. Do you feel like that they're up for the task? I mean, they've been playing really well lately. They've been winning in the trenches, both offensive line and defensive line. I think the Chiefs, they're a great team, but again, the weaknesses are on the edge. How do you feel the pass rush is gonna fare this Sunday?
I think that with everybody kind of back and getting right. I think that they're gonna start to do some things with all three: Leonard Floyd, Greg Rousseau, and Vaughn. I think they start moving Greg to the 3 tech, especially against this offense. You can't do that against the Steelers, but I do think that they're going to start against this offense where you kind of play with your ears pinned back, and if they run the ball, then you adjust. But you move Greg to the 3 a little bit, Ed to the 1, and you kind of just get after the quarterback as fast as you can. We have really long guys on the edges, and those little bubble arrow routes that Mahomes likes to throw, we've been intercepting them. I think AJ has one and Groot has one in the last 2 times that we played them. And so like that length that we have at edge, you're just not going to be able to throw those little bubble routes that he wants to get to like 2nd and 7, right. 2nd and 6. I do think this is going to be Vaughn's best game. This is why we brought him here. I think he knows this is why we brought him here, to play this team in this situation. It doesn't matter what he does in the rest of the games in the play, but like this game in particular, like you tell Vaughn, yo, you're free on the edge, go run around him, go do your little high step, beat him with speed, and then you come and clear a quarterback. This is what we do with Milano. You have a quarterback spy that comes in and replaces his lane,
right.
So that Mahomes can't just get out and run. So I do think that we tell Vaughn to pin the ears back and go this week, and I think this will probably be his best game.
Yeah, I agree. Vaughn had a couple good pressures toward the end of the game last night that I was impressed with. And also we got to mention AJ Epinesa, who got a interception in this game. I think, that length is something else. And I don't know if you noticed this watching the game yesterday, but there was a time when Epinesa was in there and he was, he beat his guy off the edge and he was going towards the quarterback, and, he kind of pulled up because he knew that Rudolph was trying to hit somebody over his head, and Rudolph kind of adjusted because he knows like the capability that Epinesa has. It was nice to see, Epi get some respect in that regard. Like, he's a heady player. He wasn't interested in sacking the quarterback necessarily because he knew it was kind of, it was out of the realm of possibility, but just the headiness, man. Like he's ready to tip a pass and take it to the house. And so, Rousseau and Epinesa are guys, when we talk about those bubble screens and those quick options after the snap, we got 2 guys that are lengthy and tall that are going to present some issues there. So,
and Floyd and all 3 of them, Leonard a little bit less, but like those 2, the awareness that they play with is like they probably used to play a different position, and you're just not. They're aware that you want to get where, if you want to get the ball around them or over them to the sideline, to like, they're aware of that. They're fairly aware of what's going on. Whereas like an Ed Oliver guy kind of just plays with his head down. He's never played nothing but interior D line, which is what you want him to do. You just want to play with your head down and be a bull. But like we have guys on our team that are very aware of certain situations. If it's a screen, they're not going to let you, like, they might turn and run. They're not going to let you throw that screen sometimes. We do have guys that will pin their ears back and are not dead to it, but just unaware of certain situations. But I do like Groot and AJ. They seem like ball players, like just fairly smart football players. And you don't find that often as far as intellect in football from a D lineman.
Yeah. Man, Ed Oliver, dude. I mean, he's been phenomenal this year, and his play has not dropped off, bro. Not dropped off at all, and he's dominating. So I think this is a game where you wonder how much of an impact he's going to have, because when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they're stout, in the inside 3. Kind of worries me there, but you know what? The Bills didn't have Daquan Jones in this game when they played the Chiefs the first time. When you're going up against Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, I'm telling you, man, Daquan Jones is going to be a major factor in this game, bro.
Yeah, I think the reason they wouldn't got Daquan is his ability to stuff run when you're just bringing four. And this is why, like, this is what I'm saying. As far as like building a team to beat the Chiefs, like there was a game that we played against the Chiefs. I don't know how long ago. I'm not sure which playoff game it was, but um, I can't remember if it was Hilaire or Pacheco just ran the ball all they wanted to, and it's because we were playing a shell. We were bringing four, and our interior D lineman couldn't withhold the interior of the defense with only bringing four and dropping out 7. So with Daquan in there, he kind of just bases up, and you're not going to double him off of the ball. And so I do think that he'll be able to help stop the run game with just 4 down linemen, not bringing much pressure. I think they'll bring spotting pressure, but I'm never in favor of bringing much pressure against Mahomes because he's fairly good at reading it most of the time. So, especially like I was watching him watch the Bills Broncos game, and he was calling out, this is how they played against me. This is, and I think most people have seen that. And like, if you bring pressure, I want it to be something they've never seen before, like a corner blitz or something from a bunch formation, like those type of pressures. But I don't really want to bring 5, 6 guys. I'd rather play a quarterback spy, bring 4, and play defense how we've been playing them. And then when the end of the game comes, then you can call your best shit. But the shell has been keeping the Chiefs fairly limited in games for most of the times that we played them. It's just in that end of the game situation, which McDermott, to his credit, has called great end of the game situations the last 6 games. And so I'm excited to see how this defense does overall.
So Rich Bills Mafia Smith asked, y'all know any veteran free agent linebackers available? A couple of that come to mind are Corey Littleton is one. And Rashaan Evans are, in my opinion, are your 2 top linebackers. But I'll say this: I don't feel like the Bills are in a position where they need to go get outside linebacker help, especially if it's someone new. I don't really think that you can fully integrate a linebacker into your defense at this point in the season. I really do. I liked what I saw from AJ Klein, a guy who knows the system, and can kind of get, and this is just if, Terrell Dodson isn't back and Bernard can't play, which I don't know if he is or not. Probably more likely not than he does. I feel like those guys fared pretty well, and given the opportunities that they had, much better for Dorian Williams, who's been a train wreck of a player this year, just kind of trying to figure everything out. No indictment on him at all. But AJ Klein, man, came in and played pretty good. Like, I got to give him a shout out for that.
Yeah, no, AJ's always been a smart player, and I think the fact that he knows the defense, he was able to come in on 3 days and call the defense. That was like the biggest point. It's like you could put anybody in at middle and outside linebacker with these, and I say this with a humbleness in my heart. With these safeties, you could really put a lot of linebackers in there and just tell them to go play, and then they'll make you right on the run fits. That's like why it's okay, because we're playing against Pittsburgh and they run the ball a lot, and the run fits are where they struggle. The new linebackers would struggle. And I mean, everybody knows how to drop into a hook to curl. Every linebacker in the NFL knows how to drop to a flat. It's like it's about the run fits. And when you have safeties there telling you, just play fast to the ball and I'll make you right, regardless of how it is. You could really plug and play anybody, and Klein, being as smart as he is able to come in and call the off or the defense. Now, I do think Dodson comes back, which would be interesting to see how they do it. Do they bring Dodson back in as the will and keep Klein at Mike? Do they move Klein to the will? And no, they would probably keep Klein at the Mike and move Dodson back or keep Dodson at the will, and then if they go dime, leave Dodson out there as the Mike. And have Jordan drop down to the other linebacker. That's what I would assume will happen. So you probably don't see much Dorian in this game. I don't think, but a guy like Klein, like, he knows the defense. You bring in a linebacker now, it'll take them a week and a half to understand the defense, all the calls, and they're not going to be useful.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Balin Spector is available to play.
Yeah.
I mean, Dorian Williams was fighting for time with Balin Spector. So if Balin can play which Balin has shown. I mean, he's been this guy when he was at Clemson. He's very instinctual. He has some athleticism. It's just, I think, one of those things where he second year player, but learning the system. But when he's in there, one thing that he does do well is that he attacks downhill and can fit the run pretty well. So
you speaking of Spectre or Dorian?
Spectre is what I'm speaking of.
Yeah.
I do feel like in this game, they're gonna see Isaiah Pacheco, and they're gonna have to, they're gonna have to bring it this Sunday because Pacheco's a good running back, man. And I think the Chiefs, because of their lack of efficiency throwing the ball, they're gonna rely on him. Expect the screen game to be popping for the Chiefs to Pacheco and inside runs. That's their bread and butter with him.
Yeah, no, and the way this defense, just based off of pass, they play all week sticky coverage. You don't there are a lot of DBs in the NFL. Like, you drop back, you cover them for 3-4 seconds, they'll get lazy. These defensive backs, they know against Mahomes, you got to play sticky. So our defensive line don't really you might send one guy to go win his one-on-one. The rest of them are playing to make sure screens and bubbles, and then once they realize that it's going to be a long route, they'll get on their pass rush. But Mahomes is just going to have the ball for 4 or 5 seconds. That's how it's going to be. That's how it has to be when you play against him. You're not going to have many quick sacks unless you bring like I said, a quarterback blitz, a linebacker blitz that gets home, and so I do expect that our defense will continue that kind of way of playing, making him take small chunk plays and go down the field, and you Kelsey keep dropping these balls. It ain't going to be like you played against the Dolphins. Our DBs are
right.
there. You drop them balls, it's an interception. So
right.
It ain't. I actually am very comfortable in our defense's ability, having played them multiple times, to go out there and hold them to under 20. I am confident in our offense's ability. Regardless of the linebackers we roll out there, I expect Dotson and hopefully Spectre back, and that would be a good 2 linebackers to have for it. So
yeah,
I'm confident in our offense's ability to go put up 30, to be honest.
RJ says, I don't know how we win this game against Kansas City with this many injuries. So this is what I'll say to this. And, we've kind of echoed this point on the show, whether it's on the chop up or intentional grounding. This Bills team is different. And I know it's hard for a lot of you guys to really see, but this is a championship caliber team. It really is, man. I mean, each and every week they battle adversity. The chips are down. I mean, you don't see that many injuries in one game. It's just a rare occurrence. You don't see it like tumble like that. We saw early in the season, in London. We saw it last night here in Buffalo. And, this team, it's a championship caliber team. The DNA, man, these guys are battle tested. They're ready. And I feel like, that's one of the edges that I would say we didn't have in previous years. So you got guys like Dorian Williams, who's a rookie, who the world is spinning when he gets in the game. When you have 2 great safeties in the back that to really help him understand what's going on, to get him to calm down and just see ball, get ball. You got guys like AJ Klein coming off the freaking couch because he was going on vacation with his family, coming and get 10 plus tackles. I mean, that's not it's not normal. It's not normal. Christian Benford's development this season. I mean, you're talking about a team, we got to give credit to where credit's due. Bobby Babbitt, Sean McDermott, and those guys on the defensive side of the ball, they've really done a really good job of having this team ready despite injuries. We said this. We said good coaches find a way to get it done with injuries and adversity, and that's what they've been able to do.
And here's the thing with the injuries. We're going to be getting a lot of guys back. If I had to make an estimate right now, all the concussion guys are going to be back next week, which is Spectre, Terran, Benford.
Benford had a knee.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Benford has a knee.
On the play that he got hit, he got kneed in the back of the head, and that's why. But I'm not sure. I was watching that play. I'm wondering how he got hurt his knee.
Yeah. You keep talking now, and I'll confirm.
Okay.
I'll make sure.
But either way, I do think that at least Spectre. Then if it's a need, then at least Spectre and Terran will be back. So we're not going to be missing as many guys. Dotson, Razul. We're not going to be missing as many guys as it looked like towards the end of that game. However, the DNA of this defense is truly next man up, no drop off. Like that's and as long as you have your two safeties in the back end, kind of quarterbacking it for them, like you shouldn't really have much drop off in the back end coverage. They might have to play a little bit more passive in certain situations, but I truly believe in Sean's ability to call a defense even with the guys that are missing, which is looking to just be Bernard, right?
Yeah. So as of right now, Gabe Davis is questionable. He's day to day with a knee injury. Taylor Rapp doesn't have an injury. He's questionable, but they don't have a status to what's ailing him. We know Terrell Bernard is an ankle. He's listed as day to day. Taron Johnson with a concussion, as we mentioned earlier. Christian Benford is considered questionable to return due to a knee injury. So it is a knee for Christian Benford confirmed. Balin Spector is a back injury. And then Tyrell Dotson with a shoulder, and then Rasul with a knee. So Taron Johnson is a concussion. Yes. Okay. So I do think a lot of those guys come back. And you know, I'm not saying, you know, telling the player to risk their life or risk their, you know, but this is a big time game, man. You talk about legacy on the line. Josh Allen, these boys know what's at stake. I mean, you're in an opportunity where you get the Chiefs at home. Like, that's big time, man. You know how loud, you know, Bills Mafia is. It's gonna have an impact. You know, they're not gonna be able to hear on third down, you know, so they're gonna have to have some things cooked in, you know. Here's what I think. You tell me if I'm wrong. I think the Chiefs' first drive, I don't think they'll have a 3-and-out in their first drive because they're gonna have those scripted plays in, right? But I think towards, you know, as you get into this game where your scripted plays are gone, that's where I think the home field advantage for the Bills is going to take place, where it's going to be loud. Because man, the Bills Mafia, we don't want the Chiefs to put us out the playoffs, man. Like, nobody wants that. Like, I really do feel confident going into this game. Am I nervous? Absolutely, I'm nervous. I mean, these are two great quarterbacks battling it out. The Bills haven't fared well in division round last 3 seasons, so I want to win. I'm expecting a W here. I feel like the Bills have what it takes to get this thing done. And you know what the cool thing is about our whole conversation, bro, is that we really haven't talked about Josh Allen that much. You know, we're talking about the defense and the injuries and stuff like that, but I mean, you got 17. Like, man, he gonna have them boys ready to play. He's gonna be, you know, juiced up and ready to go. Like, playoff Josh is something else, man. He's hard to stop.
Yeah, no, I don't. Josh is similar to Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion. That's why I didn't pick the Dolphins, because like you trust both of them. When it comes down to it, you trust both of them to go out and win a football game in the playoffs. And now they've had some Titan battles between Josh and Joe Burrow and Mahomes, and we haven't come out on the upper hand of a lot of them because those are 3 Titans. But now we got them at home. Our guys feel fresh as far as their mindset, which is not the same as it was last year. Last year they were drained from all the garb that they had to go through.
Great point.
And now it just seems like they went through that. There's calluses now in that mindset spot. Like Jordan said this in middle of the year. He's like, we have calluses from everything that we went through, and we're battle tested, and that those calluses kind of, and Josh actually alluded to it at the end of this game. Everything that they went through throughout the season has kind of just built them to be calm, cool, collected in these situations. And that's what you want. You want to be calm. You don't want to overdo anything. If you get out to a lead, you're calm on the offensive end. And while the other team may be panicking, now I don't expect Mahomes to panic, but their receivers that haven't been in that situation down in a playoff game all that often. I mean, as long as you got guys that are ready and their mind is right, this team can really go wherever they want.
Yeah, and you make a good point. There's a lot of talk about because the Chiefs have 2 days, more rest, that it benefits them, and it does to an extent. But like you said, I mean, this Bills team has been through so much, man, so much adversity, right? So much, things changing at the last minute, unfortunate goodbyes, you name it. They've had to endure it. Guess what though? The Bills don't have to travel, so they're we're going to be home. I feel like they're going to be rested and ready to go. I mean, this stuff happens in the league, man. It's not like the NFL did this on purpose. I mean, you can't stop a storm like that from coming. And it is what it is. I feel like the NFL did a really good job of putting the Bills in a good position. Even though they had to play on Monday, where the game was pushed out a day, and I feel like I don't care about that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
as a fan, I can say it's BS. That situation is BS. They should have moved the game to Monday, in my opinion. As a fan, these players don't give a shit. In this in the playoffs, like these players do not care. Like they're gonna be locked in tomorrow, or they went and got treatment today, rested, boom, you come back out tomorrow. Like, and when you get to the playoffs, you don't really practice. Like, and I don't like take my
No, I
word.
know exactly what you mean.
They don't go out they don't go out there and hit and then do all this like fast twitch. Like it's really all mental stuff throughout the
Yep.
week when you get to the playoffs, especially with the injuries. And now in regular season, coming up like having to play 5 days after when the other team has a
Right.
7-day break, like that makes because you're still trying to feel out the season. But in the playoffs, everybody should be rested by game day. And
And by the
go ahead.
way, it's not like these teams haven't played each other, so
Right.
there's already that familiarity aspect as well.
Yeah, and I don't expect any drop off because of the day's rest or whatever. I even believe that I truly believe that it's BS. Like they should have moved the game to Monday so we had an extra day break. That's what I believe, but it doesn't really matter to the players at all.
Yeah, no, I honestly I don't want to move the game to Monday. Keep that thing on Sunday. Like I want I want it to be where, I don't want to hear nothing from the naysayers. Oh, they look what they did for the Bills. Nah, we'll play you tomorrow if we have to, kind of thing. Like, nah, man, like they're not gonna take nothing from the Bills this year. You know what I'm saying? Like you tell them to play at Sunday at midnight. Hey, them boys are gonna be ready to go. Like I just feel like this team, they don't give a shit about what people are thinking or what people are saying. They're gonna be ready for Andy Reid in these Chiefs, man. Like I feel like the Bills are they might surprise us, bro. I mean, the more we talk about this, the more excited I get about it. I really do feel confident, man. The Bills, they ain't, they're not gonna be denied on Sunday.
Yeah, and I don't think they lose at all. A lot will show about the first drive. So we come out, win the toss, give the ball to Patrick, and
Yeah,
if we get a
please.
stop on the first drive, if we get a turnover or a 3 and out, we go down and score. Like this game could get ugly. And as I've said about Bills games for the entire season, we're not going to get blown out. There's no blow.
And never get blown out. Ever.
Bills are not going to get blown out. Either this game is going to go down to the wire or we're going to kick their butt. But at the end of the day, we're going to be there at the end of the game. And I just trust Josh to win the game at the end of the game. And we've shown, and it took, and regardless of what people say, it might have taken that offsides to get over that hump, the idea of winning late game. I don't give a shit. They got over it. Whether it was the offsides that got them over the hump or not, they got over the hump, and that's all that really matters when it comes down to it. Is now they're winning late games, even with the defense on the field. The defense is going out there and getting picks. We're in situations where we're not up just 3, we're up 4, which is way like it's way harder when you're up 4 or down 4 to go down and score. The defenses that they could come out with and slow you down with to not get you up the field fast is monumental. So we're playing better. We're clock managing better. We're managing the game better to where we're not just up 3 with 30 seconds left or 2 with 30 seconds left. Like we're in good situations. They've been putting us in good situations, and this game could get ugly for the Chiefs, or it could also be a barn burner, which I think we come out on top of.
And one thing that I want to mention is with Joe Brady. Last year, we had a rookie offensive coordinator, right? in a playoff game. And it's hard for rookie offensive coordinators to handle some of the throws of the playoffs. I mean, it just really is. And so this year, even though Joe Brady's, half a year offensive coordinator for us, he's a guy that had a year and a half with the Carolina Panthers. So it's not like he's not experienced. You talk about adversity. He had to deal with that with poor quarterback play in Carolina. So he's going to be ready to go. Like, I really feel good about Joe Brady. And just to think about,
the intangibles for Joe, right? Like,
right.
It's the intangibles that he brings as far as like managing the clock. And he doesn't do it to where the players purposely know, like, yeah, we're trying to manage the clock.
Right.
He kind of just calls the game in a way where, okay, if we get into this situation, we kind of want to run the ball here or throw this bubble screen so that, and make sure we catch this bubble screen so that we can run some more clock and it's not
right.
And like that, those are the intangibles that he had that Ken Dorsey would call, like, he had like automatic play calls for situations that were easy readable on, and Joe calls a game as it goes. It's not a situation like he plays situational football, but like a chessboard where he may beat you with different ways every time you play the game of chess, which is like interesting. And I think they bring him back as the OC next year. He's done a fantastic job. And
absolutely. And Sean McDermott, before we get out of here, Sean McDermott is another one. The game plans that dude's been cooking up lately has been incredible. Like, I'm so thankful that article was written. I mean, not for someone to suffer through, what he called a character assassination or a dig on his character, whatever. But the fruit that it has brought can't be denied. It galvanized his team as some, would have thought it would. And McDermott's been on a heater. You talk about one of the things that we had issues with McDermott was situational football. And he's answered the bell. He's put this defense in situations. I feel this is what I feel like. He's put these guys in great situations, but he also lets the veterans kind of take control. You know what I'm saying? Because of situational football and what's happening on the field at that time. Trusting your players, letting them go out and play and do their thing, I think has been huge. And so what that does as a defensive coordinator, a play caller, it gives you the freedom to be more forward thinking in these games, to dial up and call up these exotic blitzes or these different coverages, because you have, at some point, you got to trust your players. And I feel like McDermott, I felt like early in the season, he was trusting his scheme rather than trusting the players. I feel like he's done a good job of that.
I'll say this. All it took was his starting quarterback to go into that office and say, like, Sean, like, we got to do this, this, and this. You got to lighten up here. We got to get a little bit stronger here. Like everybody saw how Sean was calling things and how stressed he got. It just took, and it doesn't have to be a starting quarterback. It could be anybody. And it's just the way that Sean, he was very strong personality. And all it took was somebody going into his office and saying, hey, man, like, you got to make some changes. Like, I refuse to give any type of applause to that article. So
no, for sure. I mean, the article, it sucked, when it came out, just because, for me, I was just like, damn, another thing they got to deal with. Right. Like, and the stuff's true. It is what it is, but it definitely brought some fruit. It definitely brought some fruit. It didn't destroy the team. Like, for instance, if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, and there was an article, written like it was about Sean McDermott, about Nick Sirianni, I feel like it would have crippled the Eagles because they don't have the foundation infrastructure, right, to kind of, get it together.
Right. It would have destroyed the intention. And the intention, in my opinion, was to destroy McDermott. And I refuse to give anybody that tried to do that any type of credit for anything. So I know people keep saying everything about the article, but I refuse to give that dude any credit whatsoever, because the intention was to destroy this team at its weakest point, and it did the exact opposite. And it's like if you're in a relationship and he has gotten or she has gotten overweight and you kick them when they're down, they go out, lose weight, and get better. Like, I refuse to give that ex any credit whatsoever. So
yeah. I mean, from a man-to-man standpoint, it's kind of shitty. You just don't want to see that. I get it. He's an investigative journalist or whatever you want to call it. That's his job, and he had, that's what he chose to do. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, the Bills overcame that, and so we kind of have, the product that we have right now is that these boys are, they haven't lost in a long time, and I don't expect that to change anytime this weekend. So before we get up out of here, what's your prediction? Let's do it. Let's do a score prediction and a Josh Allen stat line before we get up out of here.
Four, we get up 14. I'm gonna say 36, 36-17. I wanted to say 36-20. But I'm gonna say 36-17, and we score late to make it that. But Josh goes for 300 passing, like 80 rushing, probably jumps over somebody this game. It's just one of those games for him. I expect him to have a good completion percentage, maybe like 28 for 32.
Oh, he's on a heater, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of those,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna go 34-24 Bills. I feel like Josh is gonna have about 280 and 3 touchdowns. And I feel like he's gonna get like 65 on the ground. I think that's a great, that'd be a great game. Now, typically, Josh Allen's average in the playoffs passing the ball is like 289 is what he's getting. So if he can just hit his averages, oh, it's on. It is mother effing on. But I do think the Bills win this game. I say the Bills also sack Mahomes at least 3 times. I think they're going to get him. And look for Taron. I think Taron's going to get him one this week if he plays. So I expect the Bills win. Nick Wright gets on my nerves, bro. I can't listen to him, but I wanted to hear what he had to say today, man. He was a hater today, bro. He's gonna say the Chiefs are gonna win, and he was in there talking about how the Chiefs got all this rest and they're gonna be ready, and the Bills ain't this and they ain't that, and it's like, man, I cannot wait. I'm gonna tweet directly at that dude during the game. Can't wait to talk to him after the game because the Bills they're not going to be stopped. I still feel in my being that the Bills are going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I really do feel that. I'm telling you, this is not. A troll came on, a Pittsburgh troll came on, was like, "You say that every year." I was like, first, bro, you don't even watch the show, but I don't say that every year.
Yeah,
I don't say that every year. But what they've shown, championship caliber DNA, and you can't deny that. And a quarterback who's playing better. I mean, Jordan Love is on a heater right now, but Josh Allen's playing, man, he's playing fantastic football. And I'm telling you, man, that's going to bode well. The Bills aren't the darlings of the league anymore. People still think the Chiefs are going to come in here and they're going to beat us. And I just feel like they're going to be wrong. And, Houston and the Ravens, hey, man, CJ Stroud, they got to deal with him. And that's not a walk in the park game either.
I don't know who wins that game. And I would pick the Ravens, but I think Lamar struggles heavily after 3 weeks of rest and a team that's on a heater coming into his place. I think he struggles heavily.
Yeah. And I will say this on that game. CJ Stroud goes up against Mike Macdonald, who was the defensive coordinator for the Wolverines when he last played them. Same defense with Jesse Minter. So CJ Stroud's going to be ready because he's seen that defense before. So there's something that you should think about as you watch that game this coming weekend. But I don't know, man. I'm excited. I really do feel like, again, the Bills are going to win this game. We probably won't talk to everybody here, but make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe to the Chop Up and everything going on at Buffalo Rumblings, man. We're going to have it locked and loaded. And and when the Bills win on Sunday night, we will be doing a post-game show. I know, Albert Poe, you won't be there because you'll be living a sweet life, but I'll be right here, and I'm going ham. I will be screaming, going ham, drinking, doing the whole damn thing because, I'm excited for these Bills, and we're going to get this dub, man. Any last thoughts?
Just my last thoughts on this one. I don't think it looks like a blowout. It's just
Okay.
going to get there at some point. So like
Okay.
it's going to get to a point where the score looks like it was worse than it was because we lean on teams like a boxer, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how I feel like it's going to end. So that's I think we do get to those high scoring games and or that high scoring game for us, and our defense comes out and does the damn thing. So I'm excited about this game.
All right, man. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us here on the chop up. So you guys stay safe, man. It's gonna be cold up in Buffalo, but we out of here. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
I need it up front. Can't tell me, cause I do what I want. Self-made everything, you know we gon' stun. You know that we eat and it's looking like lunch. So I tell them that I need it up front. Can't tell me, cause I do what I want. Self-made everything, you know we gon' stun. You know that we eat and it's looking like lunch. So I tell them that I need it.
Everything around my whole team, though. You ain't getting money, you niggas ain't never seen, though. Tell me where the cash at, I tell you where the stash at. I've been getting to it so long, been having flashbacks. I double that, triple that, spend it all, make it back. I need everything.